It's Motivation Mondays with Billy. Once again, time for me to take the mic and just talk. Normally I'd be doing this on a stage in front of 50 or 60 people, just making awkward jokes and saying things that come to the top of my head, but can't do that right now. So instead, here we are. I guess, let's see what I want to talk about today. So the fall is here in St. Louis. The weather's getting nice, and last night I had a friend over and we caught up, talked about old times, sat in the backyard, of course, outside where the air is clean and disparate, is that what it's called? The droplets coming in from your mouth are dispelling into smaller droplets because of the wind or something like that. I don't know how it works. I'm not a scientist. Either way. So, I guess, a couple of announcements. One thing to talk about would be the September Showdown is coming to a close right now. We are just about a week away from shutting it down and announcing a winner. Right now the score is 17 for Jesus Wheel and 6 for Roland. If you are someone who voted for Roland or you want Roland to win really bad, then I suggest you start telling all your friends to go vote. That's over at lesgruff.com/September-Showdown. Excuse me. Little indigestion from the almost pizza I ate earlier. Had a little bit of a mishap. Would be a story for another day. Wanted to get a little bit deep today and just talk about who I am as a person and what makes me me and what I think is important in the world right now. So I make no apologies for what I'm about to say. One of the things that I think that was super impactful for me, super important to me, is the concept that I picked it up from this book right here. Actually, I keep it. It's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book from Stephen Covey. So I read that book 4 or 5 years ago or something like that for the first time, more or less at the recommendation of someone else, and found the principles in there to be super exciting and changed a lot of things about the way that I approach life. And one of those things was that I think is important is like having a principle-centered life and putting principles first and cutting through all the muck with those principles. And one of those principles that I decided back then was important to me was this concept of grace. So, a graceful winner or a graceful loser or someone who accepts life with grace. And I don't always succeed at that. Sometimes I fail, sometimes I am outright nasty. But one of the things that I've seen happening in just the last few years in our country is that grace has all but left the national dialogue, and I think it's a crying shame. Watching people just devolve into these sort of base characters, the lowest common denominator of discourse, and when I know that we're all adults, that we can have a real conversation without spreading hate and relying on gotchas and dunking on each other. And there is, as you probably know, a group of people and passionately fighting for their lives right now. And I see, for some reason, people in America embracing this hatred towards those people who are speaking out and saying, "Let us live." And it's really been sad to me to see that happen, because there are great things about America. I think that some of the things that make America a wonderful place to be are the different cultures of the world that have come to this land to spend our lives here and to create and generate opportunities that we wouldn't otherwise have. And sometimes one of those cultures gets edged out a little bit and needs to get a footing back. And we built our country on the backs of people who received no recompense for their hard work, and then for the next several hundred years did nothing but discriminate and create laws and put structures in place that kept those people from advancing towards the place where we as a society consider like a successful life. And then somehow there's been this reversal where people decided that it was okay to discriminate and be hateful and start Nazi groups and things like that in our country. We are a country that not even 3 generations ago fought against the Nazis and defeated them, and now we have uprisings of Nazis coming up around the country trying to stop people who are literally fighting for their lives against forces that they have found to be oppressive. And I think that as a society we really have to take a look in the mirror and decide who we want to be. And so I think in terms of wrapping this up, this discussion, I think that Les Gruff is not a political band, we never will be. But I am a human being that I live in this country, and I've watched some really demeaning things happen in the last few years that when I was growing up, was never would have flown from any politician that are being said at the highest levels all the way down to the lowest by the people that are hired by the people to represent those people. And I think that what's confounding me is when we got so far away from a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and instead became okay with a government who was against its own people. It's blowing my mind lately. But I do think that there's a way out, and I think that way out is kindness and grace. And those are, take them what you will, those are the principles that I think that we as a country need to return to. So if you're watching still and you don't hate me for everything that I've said here, I would appreciate the benefit of the doubt here, and I would appreciate if you'd start treating people with kindness and grace, because people deserve respect. Kindness and grace are part of that, and I think we have a way out, and I think that we as a country have a long way to go before things fold up on our American experiment. But I do think we are living through some really trying times as a country right now. So anyway, I appreciate y'all listening. I'll see you next Monday, and have a great week.